sa PTV.
Welcome to Sowing Progress, Reaping Knowledge, Linking Education and Agriculture for Poverty Alleviation, a forum organized by the Office of the Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation here at the 8th floor of the Multipurpose Hall of the Department of Migrant Workers Building in Makati City. Today's forum is part of the OPAPA's continuing effort to bring together key actors from government, education, and the agriculture sector to explore how we can link learning, skills, and support systems in a way that meaningfully reduces poverty, especially in rural communities. Through this activity, we hope to surface concrete ideas and linkages that will help strengthen education and training pathways for farmers, fisherfolk, and rural youth in line with our shared goal of lowering poverty and improving food security. To formally open our program and to deliver the keynote address, it is our honor to introduce our host for this event. He, along with other officials, has been at the forefront of building a whole-of-government approach to reduce poverty and to align programs across agencies under the vision of Bagong Pilipinas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Secretary Lorenzo Larry Gadon, Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation.
Maraming salamat. We are here because kahit na gaano pa kaganda ang ating mga headline growth na sinasabi natin sa ating mga binabalita natin from the Office of the President, ay one stubborn fact remains that farmers are still consistently among the poorest sectors in our society. In fact, dahil dyan ay talagang tinututukan ni Presidente Bongbong Marcos ang mga programa na para makatulong sa ating mga farmers. And in fact, napakaganda ng implementation ng program dito. Lahat ng mga magagandang mga implementasyon ng programa ay ginagawa ng ating gobyerno ngayon sa pamamahala ni President Bongbong Marcos. Kagaya na lamang ng mga assistance sa kanila sa mga farm implements, sa mga gasoline and diesel subsidies, at yung ang pinakamahalaga dyan ay yung pag-condone ng kanilang mga pagkakautang doon sa previous land reform program na kung saan ay nabigyan nga sila ng lupa, pero yun naman ay kanilang kailangan ding bayaran. At yung pagkakautang na yan ay isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit na naging mabagal ang produksyon ng kanilang mga farm, ng kanilang mga yung kanilang pinagtatrabahuhan ay medyo mabagal ang epekto. And kulang dati sa financial support, at ngayon yan ay ginagawa ng ating mga institusyon na tinutulungan ng mga farmers. And in fact, lahat itong mga efforts na ito ay nagbunga agad sa loob lamang ng 1 taon at kalahati na pamumuno ng ating kagalang-galang na presidente. And in fact, this is not widely known by the public, but we are now the number 7 top producing countries in the world when it comes to rice production. Pang-7 na po tayo. Dahil nagkaroon tayo ng more than 300,000 metric tons ng increase in production of palay. And dahil dyan ay naakyat tayo sa number 7 sa buong mundo. What we have today, yung mga speakers natin ngayon are equally important and equally capable of delivering their programs that will be presented to us. Muli ay pasalubungan natin ng masigabong palakpakan ng ating mga magigiting na mga speakers.
Thank you, Secretary Larry Gadon. As the good secretary has mentioned, today's forum forms part of a continuing series of dialogues that the Office of the Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation has been convening in support of the administration's objective of reducing poverty to single-digit levels by 2028. We invite the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, which plays a pivotal role in building the country's skills base through technical vocational education and training. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Benedicto Maayos, Senior TESDA Specialist, who will share TESDA's agriculture-related qualifications, community-based training programs, and initiatives that link skills development with enterprise creation and employment opportunities in rural areas.
So basically, what TESDA is role in the agri-entrepreneurship and agri-tech is that TESDA stand at a critical juncture where agriculture is no longer just about farming. It's about innovation, business, and technology. The future of our foods, security, and rural prosperity rests on our ability to embrace this shift. This is where TESDA plays a transformative role and recognizes that to thrive, our farmers and aspiring entrepreneurs need more than traditional farming knowledge. They need the skills to become agri-entrepreneurs and agri-tech adopters. TESDA's short-term skills development programs are precisely tailored to meet this need. They focus on providing immediately applicable high-impact competencies. Programs like the Agri-Entrepreneurship NC2 and Agro-Entrepreneurship NC3, as well as NC4, train individuals not just to produce crops, but to manage an agricultural business. This includes crucial skills like assessing market opportunities, establishing a farm production plan, handling finances and seeking investment options, marketing farm produce for optimal profit. Embracing agri-tech with digital farming is the key to the future. The integration of technology into agriculture is TESDA as actively pushing the agenda through digital agricultural courses. These programs equip farmers with the skills to use modern tools such as smartphones and the internet to access vital farming information, manage agricultural activities efficiently, and utilize platforms for modern marketing techniques. Specialized training courses on areas like farm mechanization, drying and milling, plant servicing, and even urban hydroponics farming ensure that trainees can operate and maintain the advanced equipment and systems that increase productivity and efficiency. These short-term courses are designed to be accessible, often delivered through farm schools under programs like the Rice Extension Services Program and the TESDA Online Program, ensuring that the training in hands on and reaches those who need it most. The knowledge gained from these TESDA programs turns farmers into business owners and farms into profitable enterprises by acquiring these essential short-term skills. Our people are empowered to increase their income and uplift their communities, ensure food security of our nation, lead the way in a modern, sustainable agricultural sector. TESDA urged our youth and our seasoned farmers to take advantage of these offerings. Let's work together to make the Filipino agri-entrepreneur the face of our nation's progress. Thank you.
We now turn to the Department of Social Welfare and Development, whose social protection and feeding programs are essential in supporting vulnerable households and communities. including those engaged in agriculture. We are honored to have with us Assistant Secretary Zabedin M. Aziz, Assistant Secretary for the Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next speaker.
This program represents our commitment to empowering Filipino families not only by addressing their immediate needs, but by creating long-term pathways towards self-sufficiency and improved quality of life. Through 4Ps, we invest in the health, education, and development of children and youth, ensuring that every household with the help of the program could break the intergenerational cycle of poverty. Meanwhile, SLP provides opportunities for employment and enterprise development, enabling families to build enabling families to build sustainable sources of income and progress beyond dependency. Through 4Ps, we ensure that children from low-income households have continued access to quality education, health services. This investment in learning is critical in the closing gaps in literacy, improving academic outcomes, and equipping the next generation with knowledge, competencies, and opportunities needed to contribute meaningfully to society, including in key industries such as agriculture. Complementing this is helping support families in developing sustainable livelihood, many of which are rooted in agriculture, the backbone of many local economies, by providing skills training, startup capital, and capital capacity building. SLP empowers households to improve productivity, adopt modern agricultural practices, and strengthen food security in their communities. Through enterprise development and employment facilitation, families move from subsistence to stable and more progressive source of income. To help you walk through this presentation, Mr. Secretary, is the one in charge for our fourth program, Ms. Mary Grace Ponce.
4Ps, commonly known as Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, we're giving it a new picture. Binibigyan namin siya ng bagong definition. So, we have the pangarap, pagtataya, pagbabago, at pagtataguyod. So, pangarap, aspiration, we encourage our beneficiaries to have a pangarap because meron ng support from the government. And then, of course, yung pagtataya, participation, they're not just to dream, pero ano din yung pwede nilang itaya, ano din yung kanilang pwedeng i-contribute para tuloy-tuloy yung kanilang pagunlad. And then, of course, yung pagtataguyod, sustainability, this is now where the government, the whole of government and the whole of nation approach comes in. Ano din yung pwedeng support ng ating private sector, national government agencies, and the whole of society para ma-ensure natin na makatawid yung ating mga beneficiaries mula sa kahirapan. Gaya ng nasasabi lagi, hindi kakayanin ng isang institusyon yung pag-address ng kahirapan. And then lastly, of course, yung pagbabago. How are we transforming these family beneficiaries? Paano ba natin binabago? Hindi lang yung kanilang economic status, but also yung mindset din ng mga tao, yung behavioral change, yung pagbago dun sa kanilang pananaw na there are different government programs and services, interventions coming from the different partners and stakeholders that can be accessed para tuloy-tuloy yung pag-unlad na ating mahihirap. So, yun po yung pinaka 4 pillars of the 4Ps right now. After 17 years, next year, magdidibu na po si 4Ps. That's why we're giving it a new face. So, in a snapshot, 17 years na po tayo nag-i-invest sa health and nutrition ng 8.4 million children and 6.3 households. We're happy to report also that we have already exited 1.4 million million households. So kapag sinabi natin nag-exit at nag-graduate sila, these 1.4 million households have now better chances of fighting poverty dahil mas maayos na po yung kalagayan nila. Tinatawag po natin silang self-sufficient as assessed under social welfare and development indicators. It's a tool used by the department in assessing the socio-economic status of our 4Ps beneficiaries. And then of course, we have also contributed in the reduction of poverty incidents in our country as reported by the National Economic and Development Authority, now the at any rate. During the administration of the PBBM, in-introduce natin yung Bagong Health Grant. Ito naman yung pag-focus natin doon sa nutrition of the first 1,000 days of the child to include yung pagbubuntis ng mga kababaihan. And then of course, as I mentioned earlier, we've institutionalized the use of an assessment tool to monitor the progress of the households using yung ating case management framework. And then we also have a multi-level stakeholder and interagency partnership. As I had mentioned earlier po, yun pong ating pag-address sa kahirapan ay hindi lang po sa DSWD or the national government, but it's a whole of nation approach po. And then of course, yung ating significant human development milestones since the start of the program, meron na tayong napag-graduate from elementary na 12.2 million, high school graduate na 4.5 million, we have college graduates also, and then we're happy to report also na mga monitored child po natin, we have 39,779 board passers and 116 top-notchers across different licensure examinations po. This year, meron na po tayo naging lawyer and 4 na doktor. Yung 4Ps, of course, we all know that this is the National Poverty Reduction Strategy of the national government based on RA 11310. So meron po siyang dalawang goal, the short term, which is the provision of cash incentives para po matulungan yung immediate needs of the households. And of course, the long-term goal is we wanted to improve the socio-economic well-being of these households so that we can also contribute to the poverty reduction. Next naman po is the objective of the program. So 4Ps is in general an investment in human capital. So we're technically investing in the health, nutrition, and education of the households, particularly of children aged 18 and below. So yun pong ating education and health are based on the protocols of the Department of Health and Department of Education. So kung ano yung naka-establish na attendance rate, and then yun pong naka-establish na protocols on the check-ups of under first 1,000 days for children below 5, yun po yung sinusunod natin na conditions under 4Ps. Wala pong ini-implement si 4Ps outside of what is mandated under DepEd and DOH. And then of course yung ating grant package po, for the education grant varies po. Depende po kung saan naka-enroll yung bata. So sa case management, ginagawa po natin yan during calamities to help them kapag may gender-based violence, critical incident, and other difficult circumstances. So meron din tayong iba't ibang interventions dyan. Ito yung una, of course, yung family development session natin. Family development session is one of the most important component of the program and unique in the Philippines po. And it is now being copied by other ASEAN countries implementing CCT din. So tayo po yung naging model nila. And then of course, yung ating case management is being implemented by our city municipal links. Sila po yung ground workers na tinatawag ni DSWD na nasa city or municipal level po. So that ends my presentation. Maraming salamat po.
Karugtong nung kanina, yung sa 4Ps, yung sinasabi niyo po yung sa SLP. Kasi pag graduate mo sa 4Ps, tatawid ka na doon sa SLP. This is correlated doon sa programa niyo doon sa agriculture kasi doon yun sa mga education ng kuan pinaprovide. So if you don't mind, Mr. Secretary, I have with here the in charge for the SLP to walk us through on the update doon sa mga programa sa SLP po. Thank you.
So ano po ba ang Sustainable Livelihood Program mo? Ang Sustainable Livelihood Program, hindi po ito yung pagbibigay lang. Naiisip natin pag ang DSWD laging, 'di ba, parang magbibigay tayo ng grants, ayuda, ganyan. So dito naman po sa Sustainable Livelihood Program, ang binibigay po natin dito ay capacity building. So tinutulungan po natin ang ating mga participants po, no, na maging skilled po para sa pagnenegosyo, hindi lang din sa pagnenegosyo, pati yung sa sa employment po. The SLP is a leading capacity building program envisioned to transform the vulnerable, marginalized households and communities through sustainable, resilient livelihoods. No? Mission to improve the socio-economic condition of the program participants by building sustainable livelihood through accessing and acquiring skills and assets po. Noong 2023 po, dahil po sa instruction po ni Secretary Gatchalian po, na kailangan po yung ating mga binibigay na mga tulong, mga interventions po sa ating mga tinutulungang mga mamamayang Pilipino, kailangan po mabilis ang proseso. So dito po sa SLP, by 2023 po, kailangan in-expedite natin yung implementation process. Mamaya makikita nyo po kung gaano kabilis binibigay yung mga interventions, itong ating tulong na binibigay natin. Rationalized cost parameters, tinaas po natin yung mga binibigay natin ng mga grants po. New training and capability building activities po, dinagdagan natin ang mga activities na para makakatulong sa kanila sa pagnenegosyo at pagtatrabaho. Digitalization, isa rin po sa mga importante, iniiwasan na natin yung magiging paperless na tayo, isa sa mga sinusulong din ni SEC, no? SEC Gatchalian. So, dito po sa SLP, isa rin po sa mga dinagdag natin yung 5 phases sustainability plan po. Dito po sa 5 phases na ito, bawat phases, may mga additional tayo mga binibigay na mga interventions. Aside sa interventions, pag maging successful po sila, dinadagdagan natin sila ng mga incentives po. And we adapted rin po yung ginawa ng 4Ps na merong kumbaga graduation. So pagdating po sa 5th phase po, kumbaga mag-graduate din po sila sa SLP. Dito sa punla, yung pinakuunang phase natin, syempre ito yung proseso kung paano sila makasali, ito yung basic process. Pinapakita rin dito yung kanilang social preparation stage sa usbong naman po, phase 2. Dito, itinuturo sa atin na magkaroon sila ng positive gross sales and positive net income. Pagdating naman sa civil phase po, sa 3rd phase po natin, tinuturoan natin sila dito na matuto ng profit sharing and savings. Pagdating sa yabong phase, pang-4 natin, dito naman po yung ating mga dagdag pa na pangangailangan nila ng mga trainings. Pagdating sa ani, we will be conducting yung ating graduation ceremony katulad ng ginagawa natin sa 4Ps. By the way, yung nga po na idagdag natin, ang Sustainable Livelihood Program ay tinutulungan po niya yung mga graduate 4Ps na matulungan po namin, masustain nila na talagang after nila mag-graduate ng 4Ps, matutulungan sila na smooth in transition, magkaroon ng maayos na trabaho, magkaroon ng mag-ayos na negosyo. Sino-sino po ba yung ating mga target participants? Well, we priority the 4Ps participants, katulad na nabanggit ko po kanina, no? Tapos iba pa po sa mga target participants natin, yung pre-identified participants po, na mga na matutukoy po doon sa Community-Based Monitoring System, CBMS, other approved DSWD identification systems, yung ginagawa ng ating pong system ngayon sa DSWD, and yung dadaan po sila sa SLP Eligibility Assessment and Profile Form. So sa mga iba pa po, mga referred and walk-in clients po. Also, yung mga natural disasters po, yung mga na mga na disaster po natin ng mga mamamayan po, no? And each eligible household or participants po may choose one track. Ito po yung MD and EF. So, yung MD po, ito po yung micro-enterprise development. Ito po yung tutulungan natin sila sa pagnenegosyo, and yung EF po in employment facilitation. So dito po, i-discuss ko lang po very quickly yung ating modalities and cost parameters po, no? Dito po sa SLP, binibigyan po natin ang ating mga participants ng seed capital fund amounting to maximum 20,000 po, no? Per eligible participant, individual participant. Pagdating naman po sa SLPA po, ito yung bubuuhin natin sa association. Medyo mas malaking ibibigay natin. This is 30,000 maximum per member po, no? So pagdating naman po doon sa skills training fund po, it will be amounting to 20,000 maximum. Cash for building livelihood assets po, CBLAF po, 100% of the present regional standard minimum wage. Pagdating po sa employment facilitation fund, 7,000 maximum per program participants, and skills training fund po amounting to 20,000 maximum per program participant po. So requirements and procedures, pagdating po sa micro-enterprise, at least 16 years old with written legal consent from the parents or legal guardians po. For the employment facilitation, at least 18 years old upon employment. Salamat po.
Our next presenter is from the National Food Authority, which plays a critical role in safeguarding the country's rice security and in supporting farmers through procurement and technical services. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Raymond J. Calalang, Chemistry at the Operations Coordination Department of the Technical Services Division of the National Food Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next speaker.
Today, I will highlight 3 significant projects and studies conducted by the National Food Authority in close collaboration with other government agencies. These 3 initiatives reflect our shared commitment to addressing poverty and ensuring food security. The first project I would like to highlight is titled Post-Harvest Storage Evaluation of Irrigated Rice and Corn, conducted by Ms. Cecil De Dios and Senny De Guzman. Okay. The project looks at how effective gamma irrigation is in keeping rice and corn fresh and safe while in storage. Bali, ang ginamit po nila dito is gamma irrigation. In some countries, the technology of gamma irrigation were already used to improve the safety and shelf life of foods. Actually, sa Pilipinas po, back in the mid-1990s, nagbebenta na po nagawa na ng Food Development Center ng irrigated onion. Yun po ay naibenta naman nila. Ang collaborator po natin dito sa project na to ay PNRI or Philippine National Research and then PhilRice. The issue addressed by this project is food security. Through gamma irrigation, we are assured that good quality rice and corn is available at any time. The next project is the Bio-N project, or enhancing the productivity and competitiveness of corn farmers through sustainable production and use of Bio-N fertilizer. So Bio-N fertilizer is microbial inoculant that converts the nitrogen from the air to ammonium nitrogen. So, ano siya, mas safe siya compared sa mga chemical fertilizers. Ang collaboration naman po dito is UPLB Biotech, and then Corn Development Fund, and then the Corn Program. One of the key poverty alleviation concerns this project addresses is the heavy cost of fertilizer for corn farmers. By introducing a cheaper and more sustainable alternative to chemical fertilizers, the project not only strengthens agricultural productivity but also uplifts farming communities. And then the last project po, entitled rationalizing the utilization of seed input for improved production, processing, and marketing of the rice in the Philippines. The project is about creating practical plans and policies that will help rice farming in the Philippines become more efficient, sustainable, and competitive. The goal is to make sure farmers can produce rice more effectively, that processing and marketing are improved, and that the whole system works better so both farmers and consumers benefit. The project was conducted in collaboration with the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Agricultural Research. To address poverty alleviation concern, this project tackles unfair practices in palay trading by regulating traders and intermediaries. With fair policies and premium pricing scheme, farmers gain equal opportunities to receive the true value of their harvests. The projects I shared show how innovation, sustainability, and fairness can uplift farmers and communities. Together, with collaboration and determination, we can build a future where no Filipino is left behind. Thank you po.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Pamela Mapala from the Information Officer 4 from the DA-ATI.
So ang status po ng agriculture sector po natin sa ngayon, tinitingnan po namin ang poverty incidence na kinakaharap po ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. Kung makikita po ninyo sa ating screen, simula po nung mga nakaraang taon, 2015 hanggang 2023, pababa po ang poverty incidence, subsistence incidence na kinakaharap po natin ngayon. So kasama na po yung lahat tayo nakakaranas nung sa inflation at increasing yung prices ng ating mga bilihin na nakaka-apekto rin po kung paano natin ma-avail o makakasiguro yung ating food security. So sa ngayon po, per our record as of June 30, 2025, ang employment po ng ating sektor ay nasa 20.9% of the total employed. Nasa bandang 10.55 million po ang naka-record po ngayon na mayroong average basic pay na 354 pesos and 68 centavos per day. Base po sa aming registry system, meron po tayong 10,926,362 na farmers and fishers. Sa DA po, meron po kami programs, projects, and activities linking education and agriculture na naaakma po para sa ating programa for poverty alleviation. And we are following this framework. We are envisioning that to have food security para sa lahat po ng mga Pilipino. We will boost local agricultural production to ensure accessibility to affordable and nutritious food. And we will develop agriculture and fisheries sector as a profitable industry for farmers, fishers, and all stakeholders involved in the value chain. Para po mangyari po ang lahat ng ito, ang strategies po namin na nasa department ay to have proper balance of both developmental and regulatory roles of the DA, science and information-driven decision-making through digitalization, strong partnership with the farmers, fishers, private sector, and other stakeholders, and available and accessible financial mechanisms that encourage investments and minimize risks, and strengthen our research for development and extension to optimize sector potential. Sa amin po sa Agricultural Training Institute, we were able to come up with commodity curriculum framework wherein nandito po nakapapaloob yung mga specialist courses po namin. So ang lahat pong ito ay nakadesign para po ma-envision namin na we will have a bankable, profitable, and empowered stakeholders through this resilient and responsive agriculture and fisheries extension system. Ang aming pong training programs, nakaakma po siya sa aming commodity banner programs na rice. So makikita po ninyo yung iba't ibang technologies na nakalista at saka yung cross-cutting technologies sa baba po na nakaka-cross-cut nga po siya sa iba't ibang commodity. We also have a digital farmers program. Ito po ay wherein we're training the the old farmers actually, kasi ito nga po ay isa sa mga nakakaharap po natin na we have an aging population of sa ating pong mga magsasaka. Dito po sa programang ito, nakadisenyo po ito kung saan ang magsasaka po ay ino-orient natin sa paggamit ng mga smartphone, ng internet, ng mga apps na ma-available po sa atin ngayon at sa social media. Also, in this program, meron po kaming ini-involve na mga kabataan kung saan pinapartner po namin yung mga kabataan sa mga lolong farmer po nila. And this one is one of our new programs, the Agritech Innovate. Ito po ay parang, in other words, hackathon na dinisenyo po namin na kung saan we are involving the youth participation. No? Sila po yung pinapag-isip namin kung anong digital agriculture solution or services ang maiisip po nila na makaka-address sa challenges natin po ngayon sa agriculture and fishery sector. We also have a scholarship program like JED, but this one, we call this educational grants for extension workers. Specifically po ito sa mga empleyado po natin sa mga LGUs na who's involved in extension work, extension service, and they want to pursue higher education, specifically mga graduate degree programs on agriculture, fisheries, and related multidisciplinary course programs. And also, a part of our program, youth program, yung pong Young Farmers Challenge. Ito po ay we are encouraging Filipino youth to enter or upscale their agri-fishery enterprises. At the ATI po, in our institute, we have learning sites for agriculture. Ito po ay yung pag-accredit namin ng mga farms at farmer na merong kanilang farm na pwedeng gamitin sa aming mga training. So this is our strategy po. We have the partnership and the collaboration with different institutions. And we do the competency-based curriculum track and co-learning approach for us to have a future-ready farmers. So ito po yung strategy na para maiangkla or ma-achieve po natin yung vision natin sa ating bansa na kung saan meron tayo pong food security at matulungan po natin ang mga magsasaka at mangingisda. So yun po. Maraming salamat.
Our next presenter is from the Department of Agrarian Reform, which is central to land distribution, agrarian justice, and the provision of support services to agrarian reform beneficiaries. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Assistant Secretary Marjorie Aison from the Field Operations Office of the Department of Agrarian Reform.
I'll be turning over the microphone sa aking staff. Thank you. With your permission po. This is Ms. Riri Zare.
Land and asset reform in the Philippines is still spearheaded by the Department of Agrarian Reform, which involves the redistribution of agricultural lands to landless farmers and farm workers, aiming to improve their economic viability and promote social equity. One of the challenges presented in the Philippine Development Plan on 2023 to 2028 includes the fragmentation of agricultural lands. In the department, we want to ensure that the redistribution of agricultural lands is beneficial in achieving economic viability and the promotion of social equity for our farmers. Beyond taking the land, our department is here to ensure that the farmers who benefit from the land reform program are also empowered to participate in the planning, organization, and management of the delivery of essential support services that they need towards greater productivity and the improvement of the overall quality of their lives. We would like to reiterate that the farmers, according to the data from the Philippine Statistics Authority, still shows that the farmers, which are the backbone of our nation's food supply, unfortunately still remain among the poorest sector of our society. With a poverty incidence of 27% in 2023, although the incidence poverty has significantly or gradually declined from 2015 to 2023, there is still 2.10 million farmers who lived in the abject of our poverty. major causes of poverty among our farmers. First would be the inequality in distribution of land, the low access to credit and insurance, the low productivity due to low technology, the inadequate infrastructure and support services, the lack of access to market. It all boils down to the poverty and the low level of food security. As a response, the Philippine government has implemented major land reform efforts. First would be the enactment of the Operation Land Transfer Program, or the PD number 27, added by the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program alongside its mandatory laws, which is the RA 9700, which has all evolved for the improvement of the land tenure security for our agrarian reform beneficiaries. Additionally, we had enhanced our support services and the legal assistance or the agrarian justice delivery as extended to the ARBs and the organization. Land and asset reform is anchored into the goal of food security. Food security lies into two key pillars. One is the stability of property rights, and then the other one is the sustainable local food production. For this presentation, we'll be highlighting the programs being implemented by the Department of Agrarian Reform to achieve this and serve as a driving force towards resilient and prosperous agricultural sector. Let us begin with the stability rights. First would be the streamlined process on land acquisition and distribution. The DAR continues to fast-track land acquisition and the distribution mandate by streamlining its documentation processes. Next would be the current ongoing support to parcelization of land and individual titling project, which aims to expedite the fragmentation or parcelization of our collective titles and issuance of individual titles to ARBs. Third is the issuance or the virtue of EO number 40 series of 2023 that extends the moratorium on the payment of the principal obligation and interest of amortization due and payable by the ARBs. This has been extended for 2 years. Fourth would be the implementation of the new Agrarian Emancipation Act, or the RA 11953, which condones and releases the ARBs from their debts and the land awarded to them. Ultimately, this strict execution of this legal frameworks is what DAR is currently doing to afford the ARBs their confidence and peace of mind in helping the rural development and nation building. So these are the sustainability programs itself of the department. First would be the Climate Resilient Farm Productivity Support, or the CRFPS. These are trainings or tools to adapt in the changing environmental condition, particularly those who are vulnerable to climate change. Next is our farm business schools, which provides capacity building to our farmers, particularly on the agri-enterprise development. Next would be the SIB, or the social infrastructure building. This allows a training for Arbo community building and social linkages between other farmers. Next would be agri-credit and microfinance. The VL-FED, or the Village Level Farm Focused Enterprise Development, which enables the ARB to produce market competitive products through addition and competently manage and operate their farms and enterprise at an industry level. And lastly, the very recent Partnership Against Hunger and Poverty, which I will be discussing in the next slide. As mentioned earlier, the PAHP project is one of the crucial initiatives of the DAR. In here, we help or we link the agrarian reform beneficiary organizations to government agencies and private institutions towards local food production, which aims to mitigate hunger and ensure food security among all these institutions. From 2022 up to 2025, there is a total gross sales of Arbos involved in the program have reached into 6.52 billion pesos. Here are other projects. One would be the irrigation project, which we have completed. Next would be the farm-to-market roads, farm productivity support services and facilities, ARB development and sustainability training, the ARB access to credit and microfinance. And for our ways forward, we have our project Vista, Value Chain Innovation for Sustainable Transformation in Agrarian Reform Beneficiaries, which is funded by the International Fund for Agrarian Development, or the IFAD, costing around 8.099 billion. The next would be the Inclusive Partnership for Agrarian Reform Communities, which is also funded by the World Bank. Please allow us to close this presentation with the saying that while the DAR remains committed to fulfilling its mandate, the success of poverty reduction and national food security ultimately depends on the coordinated efforts and alignment of programs across all involved agencies. Thank you so much.
We invite the Commission on Higher Education to present the higher education and scholarship perspectives that are critical to nurturing the next generation of professionals in agriculture and related fields. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Edric Orival from the Office of Student Development and Services of the Commission on Higher Education.
The scholarship programs offered by the CHED related to agriculture po. So first po is yung Agriculture Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, Grants and Aid for Higher Education Program, or ASEF-GHEP. The program po is open to qualified and deserving undergraduate students who will enroll or are currently enrolled in any CHED-recognized higher education institution in the areas of agriculture, forestry, fisheries, veterinary medicine education program, and related agriculture education programs po. For the qualification, the applicant must be a Filipino citizen, graduating high school students or high school graduates, or with earned college academic units relevant to the identified degree programs. The applicants will enroll or currently enrolled in recognized programs of private higher education institution or authorized programs po ng SUC and LUC in agriculture, forestry, fisheries, veterinary medicine education, and related agriculture education programs. With combined annual gross income po ng parents niya or guardians not to exceed 400,000 pesos. Preferably po yung applicants natin ay dependent ng registered farmers and or fisher folks in the registry systems for basic sectors in agriculture or RSBSA and other registry systems. The applicant must not be a beneficiary of any government-funded student financial assistance programs and must not be convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude. For the application procedure po ng ASEF-GHEP, the student applicant shall submit the application to CHED regional offices, and CHED regional offices evaluates and approves the application and recommends the master list of the approved applicants to the CHED Office of Student Development Services. The CHED Office of Student Development and Services validates and approves lists of qualified beneficiaries for funding purposes. So for the benefits po na matatanggap ng mga grantees ng ASEF-GHEP for private higher education institutions, for annual po meron siyang matatanggap for tuition fee and other school fees na 20,000 or 10,000 per semester. For the stipend, meron siyang matatanggap na 35,000 pesos or 17,500 per semester. And for the book allowance naman po, may matatanggap ang grantees na 5,000 pesos annually or 2,500 per semester. Total po, 60,000 pesos. For the grantees naman po that are enrolled in state university and colleges, meron po silang matatanggap na stipend na 35,000, book allowance na 5,000, total po ng 40,000. So free po ang kanilang tuition fee and other school fees by the virtue po ng Republic Act number 10931 na pre-higher education po. Due to limited funds for the fiscal year 2025, there is no new batch for grantees in academic year 2025-2026. For the scholarship programs naman po, yung next na program being offered by the Commission on Higher Education, ang scholarship program for coconut farmers and their families, or COSCO. The coverage of COSCO is qualified undergraduate. 1. Coconut farmers and their families duly registered under the National Coconut Farmers Registry System. And 2. Enrolled in agriculture, agricultural engineering, agribusiness management, agricultural economics, and other programs identified by the Philippine Coconut Authority. For the qualifications naman po ng mga applicants, must be a Filipino citizen, graduating high school student, or high school graduate with a general weighted average po or GWA of 80% or its equivalent, or college student with earned academic units relevant to the degree programs identified by the PCA with the GWA of 80% the previous semester or its equivalent. The applicants must pass the entry-level requirements of the identified state universities and colleges. And for qualified applicants naman po for private higher education, she or he must pass the entry-level requirement po. The applicants must be duly registered coconut farmer in the NCFRS or his or her dependent, and must have a combined annual gross income po of parents or guardians not exceeding 300,000. For the application and awarding procedures naman po ng COSCO, the student applicant must submit the applications to CHED regional offices, and our CHED regional offices accepts and evaluates the applications po, ranks the qualified applicants po. For the Office of Student Development and Services, will validate the rank list and approves the list of qualified beneficiaries and issues corresponding award numbers. The CHED regional offices will issue notice of award or NOA to the applicants, and the student applicant shall accept or waive the NOA. For the financial benefits na matatanggap po ng mga scholars ng COSCO for the regular allowance, stipends po nila, which includes food, educational tours, transportation, smaller projects, medical insurance, internet use, communication. Meron po silang matatanggap na 70,000 pesos per year or 35,000 po per semester. For book allowance po and other learning materials, may matatanggap po na 10,000 per year ang ating mga scholars or 5,000 naman po per semester. Total po ay 80,000 per semester. Ang ating scholarship program being offered by CHED, or yung pangatlo na po, is scholarship grant for program for children and dependents of sugarcane industry workers and small sugarcane farmers. And ito naman pong SIDA SGP ay para naman po sa dependents ng sugarcane industry workers and small sugarcane farmers. The student applicants shall submit to the SRA Mill District all documentary requirements. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Sa pagtatapos ng ating forum ngayong araw ay muli ako nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng mga nakilahok dito, particularly ang ating mga speakers na nakapagbigay sa atin ng kaalaman at mga bagong puntos at mga pamamaraan at teknolohiya na ating ini-employ ngayon upang makamit natin ang ating ninanais na magkaroon tayo ng food security at upang magkaroon tayo ng sustainable program para ang ating mga programa sa agriculture at sa fisheries at sa ating edukasyon patungkol sa agrikultura ay maipagpapatuloy natin kahit tapos na ang aming administrasyon. Kaya muli, maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas, mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Secretary Gadon, for your leadership and your closing message.